Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Nintendo Fanboyz. We're breaking with our little tradition of going back and forth, and that's because there was actually a lot of big news that happened, in the last couple of days, week, whatever. And there's also, as we lead up to the Switch's release, or if you're not interested in the Switch, then there's Breath of the Wild. So there's quite a bit of Nintendo stuff happening right now, and for the rest of the industry, it's pretty much Resident Evil 7 time, which I have not played, but you have. So I guess since we're super professional, why don't you tell us what you thought of Resident Evil 7?
It was a lot of fun. I wish I had time to play that game. It's super. I know you played the demo. It sounds like a game that's way too scary for me, especially since we were there. We were like 12 people in a room playing. There was one people playing in VR. The guy has a VR, and I tried the VR mode, and it's like, oh my god, I don't understand how people can play that game in VR. I personally couldn't play because I had motion sickness immediately, and I don't know why it does that with that game, but it's just, if I had to basically walk, if I ran, I would get motion sickness, and if you don't run in Resident Evil 7, you're gonna get killed instantly, so it's pretty crazy, and the game doesn't really feel like a classic Resident Evil or a new Resident Evil. It's a nice mix. There's some adventure elements, and there's some puzzle elements of the old where you need to find some foolish items to open doors that doesn't really make sense why someone would install that in his house, but it's all good, it's fun. Not sure how the full game is because we only played it for 4 hours, so I don't have enough to...
4 hours?
Yep.
That's more than half the game.
Well, yeah, but the last hour was we switched off the VR and we just played regularly, and we kept dying. The last hour we did no progress whatsoever. We kept dying because of some enemies that kind of look like the enemies in Resident Evil Revelation.
Yeah, okay.
That was that. So that's pretty much my rundown on Resident Evil 7.
Well, for me, one of my New Year's resolutions was to just keep going and getting better and better at doing what I did last year, which was to improve upon the number of games that I buy, which is to say, not buy. Last year, I've been keeping track, for the last 2 years, I've been keeping track of all the different games I buy, because before that, as Steven would like to say, I bought everything. I didn't buy everything, but I bought way more than I ever actually played, let alone completed or anything like that. I just, I was like, oh, that looks great, and I'd pick it up. Oh, that looks cool, I'd pick it up. And so last year, I improved quite a lot. I mean, I don't remember, I don't have it here right now. I don't feel like looking for it, but it was quite a substantial increase. So let's say, I told you before, I don't remember what the hell it was, but it was I think it was more than half of the games I bought less than I did the year before. And so this year I was well, let's see if we can keep going, it doesn't make sense to buy stuff you're not going to play. And yes, I understand later on, certain games could potentially be hard to find, but that's only if you care about physical games. If you don't care about the physical games, then digital, they should be available forever, and if anything, they're going to be even cheaper. So I was okay, that's what I'm going to do. So the very first game of this year that I was interested in picking up was Resident Evil 7. That was the first one. But the problem was that there was a game I was even more interested in that was coming out either the same week or the week before or week after or whatever the hell it was, which was Dragon Quest VIII. And I really, really wanted to play Dragon Quest VIII because I had a really great time with Dragon Quest VII, and I know that 8 is a significantly better game just from a design point. It's a much better game. So, yeah, I decided, you know what, I'm going to cancel my order of Resident Evil 7, which I did, and I'm just going to pick up Dragon Quest 8, and then I was thinking to myself, I was like, you know what, it's kind of silly. I don't want to play a Resident Evil game in January. Like, it feels off. Maybe I'm the only one, and you know, guys, go ahead. I mean, like, if you're big fans, just like you were saying, like, it does sound cool. But it seems off to me. Like, Resident Evil is the type of series, and I know throughout like history, basically, that Resident Evil games have been released at all different times, whatever. But right now, I was like, I'm not in the mood. You know, I just came off of Final Fantasy, 15, and I had a really good time with that. I actually had a much better time with Final Fantasy 15 than I thought I was going to. And before that, for the last 4 or 5 games I played, they were all role-playing games. So I was like, okay, well, what the hell, you know? Like, now that I know Dragon Quest 8 is literally right around the corner, I'm not going to get into anything else. I'm just going to play that and I'm going to go to town with that. And that's exactly what I've done. So,
just want to tell you quickly that I'm going to go try to see downstairs if my PlayStation is running or something. Because for the last 3 minutes, you've been talking to yourself. So just keep talking to yourself and I'll come right back. I'll turn off my PlayStation because I can't hear what you're saying. I think something is wrong with my connection. So just keep on talking. I'll be right back.
Well, that's cool. That's awesome. That happened last time. We've been having some weird issues every now and then where Steven's signal will like go up and down in terms of strength. And you guys probably hear it too in the recording, I'm sure, where it goes. It like fluctuates. Sometimes Steven sounds almost like Transformer-ish, where he'll just cut off for certain periods of time, which is really weird. So anyway, that was that. Like, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to pick up Dragon Quest 8, and I actually have it sitting right beside me, actually. And been playing quite a lot of that in my free time. Been really busy, though, actually. Work has been ramping up quite a lot, quite heavily. And so I just haven't had the time that I wanted to devote to the game, because by now it's already been out for like a week or so, and I should be like, you know, like 150 hours into the game by now. And I'm only actually, well, as of this morning, I just hit 20 hours. So 20 hours in is actually really, really good. For me right now, it's really good. I'm right at Baccarat. I think that's how it's pronounced, which is right after you get the ship or the boat or whatever it's called, and you get to start exploring some of the other continents. So that's where I am right now. So 20 hours in is way more than I thought I was going to be able to do. But I had 2 days in the evening where I was able to put in quite a bit of time. Serena wasn't feeling particularly well, so she was like, I'm gonna go read in the bedroom. So the minute that happened, because normally what she wants to do is she wants to, you know, either just watch some TV or things like that, and I'll usually join her. I'm not gonna go and play on the 3DS or anything. I'll just, you know, we'll sit and we'll watch some TV or whatever. But she went and read, so I was like, oh, okay, well then perfect. So I managed to put in like a good, maybe 6 hours over those 2 days. So the good news is for Dragon Quest 8 anyway, at least for me, it holds up perfectly. It's a really great game. It really is. And I still think it's kind of funny because a lot of North Americans got into the series with Dragon Quest 8. Everybody had a PlayStation 2. Dragon Quest 8, originally in North America anyway, came with a demo of Final Fantasy 12. So a lot of people bought it just for that and ended up loving it. It's a phenomenal RPG. But it's funny because obviously this is a series that's always been Japanese-centric. But I find it funny that, and I kind of wonder what would have happened. What would have happened if Dragon Quest 9 would have been a PS3/Xbox 360 game? You know? And if Dragon Quest 10 would have been a PS3/Xbox 360 game. Like, I kind of wonder if the series would have continued to gain popularity in the West. Now, that's not to say that the DS for Dragon Quest IX was an utter failure. No, not at all. But it's just the fact that Dragon Quest VIII was such a marked, difference compared to all the other Dragon Quest games at the time, and because it did introduce so many people to the series on the PS2, I've always wondered that what would have happened had 9 been just followed in 8's footsteps. Would the series have caught on a little bit more in North America? And I tend to think that yes, actually, I think it would have, because now I don't want to say the damage is done, but with Dragon Quest XI hitting all these different platforms, which is fine. I think that's great, but it's been many years now since Dragon Quest VIII was released. That theoretically, Dragon Quest XI could yet again be someone's first time playing that particular series. So I don't know if I'm making any sense or if I'm just rambling on, but I always have wondered about that. And anyways, so going back here, with Dragon Quest VIII on the 3DS, I think it's brilliant. Hopefully, Steven, you're back, I hope.
I am, yeah.
Is your internet any better?
Yeah, Netflix was definitely on. Do you hear me perfectly right now?
Yeah, you're better. Okay. You were cutting off before.
Yeah, well, Netflix was definitely on. The thing is, I think this laptop that I got from Marc-André is starting to act up now, because even when I'm not on Skype with you and I'm trying to do some other stuff on it, like, it's very, very hard to do basic stuff, like just navigating the Google Chrome and stuff like that. So I really not a tech guy, so it's probably this laptop. So next time we do this, I'll probably try it with my girlfriend's laptop. I'll download Skype in there, see if that works better, because there's something up here. But I lost you as soon as I stopped talking. I lost you for a while. I heard I know you were talking about Resident Evil in January, and as soon as you saw that made me laugh, because that's why you never enjoyed Resident Evil 4, because that was released in January.
Yeah, there you go.
The greatest games of all time. And then I believe you were talking about your Dragon Quest VIII impressions.
Well, sort of. Dragon Quest, I didn't really go in. I was talking more about, I was talking a little bit about the fact that this year's New Year's resolution was that I didn't want to buy as many games, so that's one of the reasons why I canceled my Resident Evil 7 pre-order, because I want to play Dragon Quest VIII, and I know that after Dragon Quest VIII, there's going to be Zelda, there's going to be these other games, and it doesn't make sense for me to buy Resident Evil 7 now when the hell am I going to play it? But I didn't actually go into what I thought of the of Dragon Quest VIII, because I've been speaking nonstop. I wanted you to tell me your impressions first.
Okay. So I think I heard you were 20 hours in. I'm only 8 hours in. Right now I'm a bit stuck, because there's this wonderful new addition in this game where you need to take pictures of certain objects or monsters or whatever it is, and it's really addicting. And right now I'm not sure if you're going to be able to help me here. I'm missing one, and it's some kind of kid squid creature, and I believe that it must be close to the water, but I just haven't seen any beaches or any opportunity to find these creatures so far. And I kind of want to complete this codex, because I'm pretty sure I'm near the next town, which from memory is probably the town where all the people are dressed in black or something like that, with the kingdom that's very, very saddened by the death of like the princess or something that I don't remember, but I think that's where I'm heading, and I'm missing that. So it's kind of been halting my progress, because I'm losing the motivation to continue right now just because of that. But I know I'll get into it soon enough, and I'm having fun. However, I'm wondering if my nostalgia of this game didn't play tricks on me, because it's the game, and it probably just me. I don't think you have the same issue, but it feels a little bit less epic, and I'm not sure if it's because I'm playing this on a small screen I'm not sure if it's because they changed the voices of Jessica, which for some reason, and I'm pretty sure they changed the voice of Dalmagus OC, but it might not be the case. But I remember when I was playing this, and I was very young. I was probably 19 or 20 when this came out, 21 maybe.
You're just a child.
I was just a child. I was still in my diapers, and this game had such an impact on me. And it was the first Dragon Quest I really ever played for an extensive period of time. The first Dragon Quest game I beat. I had a blast. Still one of my favorite reviews I ever wrote for the site. And I remember Dalmagus, every time he spoke, he stole the show back then, and I was glued to the screen. Also, I missed the North American menus, maybe. Maybe that's why. There's just, like, it seems like we're getting... We got the voice acting, we got all that stuff, but we also didn't get everything that the North American improved on. So I'm not sure if it's just me here. Like, maybe I'm crazy. Still, I'm only 8 hours in. I'm going to invest a lot more time. Sorry, I have something in my throat.
Yeah, I did
invest 81 hours into Dragon Quest VII, which in my opinion is a good game, but inferior to 8. So I have no doubt I'm going to get addicted to this very quickly soon. And I'll let you talk while I go put my dog outside because he wants to go outside. I'll still hear you, so go ahead.
All right. So no, first off, no, it isn't just you. This was one of the things, like, I went through the Japanese Dragon Quest VIII, okay? But it's not the same, right? Like, my brain associates different games with the region that I play them in, okay? So, for example, hold on a sec, I'm picking up my cat. Sorry about that, folks. We are so professional, eh? We're both with the animals, but my cat is in a very lovey mood right now, it doesn't happen very often, so I'm taking advantage of it. But yeah, so... like, when I played through the Japanese version on my new 3DS that I picked up, I was just like, wow, this is good, it's fun. But I didn't have the same impact that I'm having right now playing it in English. And the reason why is because in my brain here, I'm like, Dragon Quest VIII on the PS2 was an incredible experience. You guys really have no idea. I need to get my Japanese PS2 and bring it home here one day to do a sort of a comparison. Most people would be shocked to learn of just how staggering the differences are between the Japanese and the North American version of Dragon Quest VIII. It really is. It's like almost an entirely new game in a lot of aspects. Not just menus, but like with the voice acting, with the orchestrated soundtrack, with the just... It was amazing. It was just an amazing experience. But playing through this one, the gameplay is great, still very addictive. I love the fact there's no random encounters. That's it's fantastic. But I have a couple issues as well. For one thing, the voice acting as a whole isn't as good as on the PS2. Now, how do I know that? Well, I know that because I actually, if you watched the funny one I did, the little advertisement sort of video I did where I was saying, be better in bed, play Dragon Quest VIII, or buy Dragon Quest VIII, or whatever it was. I brought home my PS2 North American version of Dragon Quest VIII, and my PS3 plays PS2 games, so I tried it out, and sure enough, it's the quality. You're right, by the way. Dalmagus sounds different, so does Jessica, and so does a few of the other characters, but they might not be. And let me explain. Part of this is when you played that game on your console, you either had surround sound or you just had the TV speakers, but I found the balancing was so much better on the PlayStation 2 version. Like, voices were much clearer. I find on the 3DS that it's like I don't know if you know with sounds, but they have the music channel a little louder than they have the voice channel, so that when the audio is coming out, I always find I have to turn up my volume just ever so slightly, and the overall quality of the voice acting it seems that it's been artifacted just a bit too much. I think they had to reduce the sample size or just something. Something is off because it sounds like Yangus. Yangus sounds so much better on the PlayStation 2 version than he does on the 3DS version, and it's really, really odd. The other thing that you mentioned, like the menus and stuff like that, yeah, this is like all the other DS and 3DS Dragon Quest games. It follows the exact same, simplicity, basically. The menus are very, very simplistic, whereas in the North American one, they did a complete overhaul of all of the menus, which, yes, I'm missing those as well. Now, to answer your question, though, about the camera, do not always assume that you have to, or you can, take all the pictures as soon as you get to a certain location, because the answer is you cannot. Okay? Yeah. So don't hold on to progressing because you're missing one picture, because you may not even be able to get that picture until events happen a little bit later on.
Okay.
So for what you're...
Quick question, just before you move on.
Yep.
I remember texting you that I thought the game felt a bit less cinematic, and you played the PS2 version. I haven't since it came out. Were there subtitles during the cutscenes, or was it like this one where it's text, like taking half the screen almost?
Oh crap! Yeah, I didn't. I didn't even think of that. I'll go check.
Okay.
I'll go check because I didn't even I didn't even think of that. I just started the thing.
Maybe I'll have to play the game with headphones. Maybe that will help, because you're right that the 3DS limited capabilities do hurt the sound a bit, and that probably affects the voice acting. Because I thought that Yangus' voice and the King's voice, they didn't sound off to me. Even though they might be different, I thought they did the character well. But Jessica, I don't know, it's to the point right now where I play the game on mute, and I shouldn't. Like, Dragon Quest has fantastic music and there's voice acting. But I'm playing on mute because I don't care for the voices that much. I'm not even invested in the story right now. So again, I'm only 8 hours in. This will probably change because I really like Dragon Quest VIII. But so far, I'm surprised. I thought I would enjoy this a lot more because it's portable. It's on the 3DS, which you all know how much I love the 3DS. But for me, it feels as of right now like an inferior port, and it's surprising because from what I heard from many guys, and you are one of them, a Happy Console Gamer did a review of that game, and he said that the 3DS version is the best one, probably because of all the additions. But so far, I'm not feeling it. We'll see. We'll probably have like a review up and later discussions in future Fanboyz episodes or Canadian Gamers. But so far, I'll be honest, I'm a bit let down, and I don't know why. It's a strange feeling.
Yeah, but you're actually not alone, man. Like I said, I never played the North American 3DS one. The Japanese one, I thought, was a marked improvement over the Japanese version of the PS2 game. But in this case, I'm leaning more towards you as well. It holds up. I mean, it holds up tremendously well, but there's just something. I don't know. It's going to be really, really interesting, like you said, to find out, what our thoughts are as we progress and whatnot. So, anyways, okay. So, for those that don't know, today marks, I believe it's episode 22 of Nintendo Fanboyz. My goodness, we are on a roll. Let me just quickly grab my calendar to make sure I didn't lie. Yeah, it is. How about that? And today we wanted to focus on some of the events that happened over the last week, 2 weeks, whatever. So I'm going to start off with some news. We do have a topic of the show. I hope you remember that you're doing the blast from the past.
Yep.
We even have Amiibo news. So we actually we have a full show for you guys today. And we're going to start off with a question that I actually got asked on the channel, which people were writing in and saying, that we both sounded overly negative about the Switch, and it's clear that we are fans, but like, how can we be just such monsters and this and that about the Switch? And I think both of us have gone into quite enough detail to let people know, like, our why we think the way we think. And personally, I think it just all boils down to that there was so much potential, and it feels like with just one showing, they dropped the ball, like, just so bad. Like, it was just like, wow. But over the last, week or 2 weeks or whatever, since we last have spoken about this, I've been doing a lot of reading and contemplating different things, and I haven't changed my opinion. I still believe that they really dropped the ball big time with this, and I still think that they're rushing it to market. But one thing that I have noticed is this seems to have a hell of a lot more goodwill going towards it, even with that reveal that was pretty bad or lackluster, than the Wii U did. So I think it's going to be a very interesting first, say, 6 to 12 months after the Switch is out. I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see, because I'll be honest, I was really surprised by the mixed reaction that I was reading on NeoGAF and other places, from people that are just, they were like, well, it wasn't that bad. And that really, really surprised me, because I thought everyone would be like the two of us and be like, yeah, that reveal was just awful. So I think it's going to be interesting to follow this as we go on, which of course we're going to do. Now, one person did write in asking a question about the Switch Pro controller. And so I do have some news for this individual, which I forgot to write their name down. I apologize for that. And I thought it was kind of weird too, because like I said, I've been reading up on a lot of this stuff, and when someone wrote in asking about the Switch Pro controller, I was like, what's the issue? And they were telling me that you can't pre-order it. And I was like, well, yeah, okay, maybe it's sold out everywhere. But interestingly enough, much like the Vita in North America, it just isn't available anywhere online. It is now. So, long story, a little bit longer, the controller apparently was having some FCC issues. Now, I think that's the federal, what is it? Something? Communication controls? Or I forget what the hell it's actually called. Anyways, it's the body that basically, the governing body that checks out electronic devices to make sure that they're compliant. And apparently the controller was having some issues, and not in the negative, but I think it was just Nintendo didn't submit what it needed to submit to get in pre-orders by a certain date. So anyways, the news is if you go to Amazon or anywhere else, you can now pre-order the Switch Pro controller, which everyone and their mother is saying is pretty much a must-have. It is ridiculously expensive, but it is the only controller you can get for the Switch that actually has a D-pad, which is rather surprising in the sense that Nintendo actually holds the patent to the cross D-pad, which many people don't know, by the way, but they do. That's why no one else has ever really copied the exact look of it, because they will get sued the living crap out of. So that's it. If you were wondering if you wanted to get a Pro controller, it's now available for pre-order, although by the time you guys are watching this, most likely it will be long sold out. So I'm pretty sure you don't have anything to add about that, right?
I just find it hilarious that with Nintendo's console, you actually have to pre-order controllers. Like, did you ever rush in line to pre-order a DualShock 4 or whatever they call
That's
it?
True.
PS4 or whatever Xbox One controllers. Like, the Wii U was the same. Like, you have 6 different controllers for the machine. It's like, man, it's getting out of control.
That's a really, really excellent point. That very good, man. I didn't even think of that. That is a very good point. That it's true. Like, you never have to worry about those things with the others. They mass-produce the living hell out of them, and there's only one basically variation. Yes, you'd have to pre-order if there's like, like the Halo whatever Master Chief controller type of thing. But no, you're right. You're very, very right. That's a really good point. So that's interesting. I'll be curious to see if anybody has anything to add to that, but that's a really interesting point. Okay, so the next bit of news is something I want Steven to talk about because he's our resident Pokemon fanatic, and I want him to go into details about all of this. I did it yesterday myself, but basically the Pokébank is now, compatible, live, I don't know what you want to call it, for Pokemon Sun and Moon, and if you log in to the Pokébank before a certain date, which Steven probably has this memorized or tattooed to him already, you get a special little reward. So I'm going to go ahead and talk all about this because you're going to know about the Generation 1 stuff and everything else that I don't.
Yeah, the reward you're talking about is a Z Crystal for Mew's Psychic. So I don't know what it does because I don't have a Mew yet in Sun and Moon. I didn't transfer all my Pokemon yet from Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, and all that. But that's the reward. It's a pretty cool reward and an incentive to get Pokébank and pay the $5 a year fee that it is. But the best feature about this right now is that you can transfer from Red, Blue, and Yellow from the Virtual Console release. And this will mark the first time ever that you're able to do that, because if you don't know, from Generation 3 onward, you can actually get the Pokemon and trade it upwards all the way to Sun and Moon. But Generation 1 and 2 are always stuck in that generation. So right now, they actually unlock one of those. Of course, you can't get your original Pokemon from the cartridges, but you can get them from the Virtual Console releases, and that does bring some interesting changes because those Pokemon at the time did not have natures, they did not have genders, they did not have abilities, and they did not have the same set of IVs as they do now, and they didn't even have a special attack and special defense stat. They only had a special stat. So all of this is not, we all thought what would be generated randomly, but it turns out there's some kind of a formula that determines that. But basically, all Pokemon you transfer from first gen are guaranteed 3 perfect IVs. And that's amazing. That means that any of those Pokemon are almost practically battle ready for competitive use.
Cool.
Because Pokemon you catch in the wild most of the time don't even have 1 perfect IV, and now they're guaranteed 3, and they all have their hidden abilities, which is also another cool factor. So that's amazing. There are one issue that I have with this right now is that Machamp in Generation 1 has access to a move called Fissure, or Fissure, whatever it's pronounced, and that move is an automatic one-hit KO move, but it also only has a 40% chance of hitting. However, Machamp's hitting ability is No Guard, which means that any moves that he uses will never miss, and any move that his opponent uses against him will never miss. So this opens up a huge problem, because now people have access to a no-guard Machamp with Fissure. So a Machamp that has a one-hit KO move that will hit 100% of the time, unless you're a flying type or a Pokemon with Levitate. So the thing is, I'm not actually sure if I don't have a Machamp with Fissure in my Red, Blue, and Yellow. I never really was interested in those one-hit moves, and I haven't attempted to transfer one. So maybe they did something specifically to prevent people from doing that, because I know that the Mew that you got and I got that were glitched in the game cannot be transferred in, so you cannot get your glitch Mew in Pokébank.
Oh, that's sad.
Although they already figured out a way to do it, but it's extremely complicated, and it makes you basically like enter the matrix and stuff like that. It's crazy. Cool. I don't know if you've ever seen Pokemon speedruns, but it's funny because the people don't actually play the game. They just like modify the code left and right, and they do that not without any cheating device. They do that right in the game. It's hilarious. So you have to do something like that to trick the game into thinking that this is a legit Mew. But besides that, yeah, Pokébank was, I don't know what else to add. It's something to look for if you are still playing Pokemon Sun and Moon, as you now have access to a lot more Pokemon. And I'm going to go open the door for my dog because he's being annoying.
Oh, and you're being annoying because I wanted to ask you questions, and now I can't because you're gone. You're the worst. Because I'm kind of curious. You mentioned that Mew can't be transferred, but that's okay because I have Mew from. I got a code with Mew from one of the from the last generation that they released on the 3DS there. So I guess I could transfer that Mew, but I think that's a level 100 Mew or whatever it is. But anyway, whatever. That's not the question. The question was if they block that, I'm going to go out of my way and say that I'm assuming they blocked all of the other glitched Pokemon as well, right?
I don't think they did.
Really?
Like, what other glitch Pokemon you mean? Like,
well, you told me that there was I don't remember what it was called. It looked like a Tetris block.
Yeah, the missing Yo or that one you cannot transfer because it's not technically a Pokemon. It's just some lost code or some extra code in the game. And like there's a way to glitch every Pokemon in the game, like using a similar method as Mew. I'm not sure if those will work. Because the reason why I believe Mew doesn't work is because it's every time you capture a Pokemon in the current games, I'm not sure if it does it in Red, Blue, Yellow, but there's some data that it will tell you where you meet him, where you caught him, and all that stuff. And since Mew is not catchable, the game will know that it's not a legit Mew since it's not supposed to be met in whatever area you caught him. So that's why I believe it's not transferable, so maybe it's the same thing with any Pokemon that you use the trick on. Okay, cool. Well, anyways, that was interesting. So outside that, I don't believe there's any other Pokemon news, is there? Well, there's been a new Pokemon iOS game released. I don't remember the name. Great. I think it's Pokemon Duel. It's called, and it looks amazing. You should download it right away and let me know how it plays. Yeah, I'll get right on that. Yeah, it sounds like a really boring microtransaction game that I haven't even downloaded myself. Well, there is one other Pokemon thing I wanted to talk about that's not news, but I watched a video. I don't know, there's an Australian mate. I really like his channel. Blunty is his name. And he does a whole bunch of stuff. Like he'll do tech reviews. He'll talk about some gaming stuff every now and then. And he had an interesting video up saying that, what happens if Pokemon... Stars or Eclipse, as you like to say, and I actually like that name better, if that actually hits the Switch, it's going to be interesting to see how the dynamic will change because of the paywall that they're going to introduce for online multiplayer now, and just that will be quite interesting considering you've never had to pay to play online with each other since Pokemon started going online, and there's a really interesting discussion that I think you in particular would enjoy. You may not agree with what he has to say, but I just wanted to mention that, and for other Pokemon fans out there, that it's a very interesting discussion he has all about that. And I also wanted to let you know, did you go and check out the game facts that Cranberry posted for you? I checked it out briefly. Okay, great. Yeah. Because I know the last time I checked, there were 2 pages worth of comments, but I don't know if anybody is actually leaving friend codes and stuff. Yeah, I know. I don't have a GameFAQs account, but I can always make it work right there. I'm not sure though. Cranberry's is she big? Does she have a big following in the community? Because I'm wondering if she's attracting our kind of community, or she's just attracting Pokemon pro players, and I don't have a problem battling people. It's just I don't know how entertaining of battles it will make for the channel. So we'll see. I honestly have no clue. I have no idea. I know that she's very big in the Dragon Quest community, but for Pokemon I have no idea. Okay. I have no clue. But anyway, okay.
So, we're going to move on to the last bit of news, which is actually a lot of news, which was there was a Fire Emblem Direct a little while ago, and you watched it before me, and you were telling me some of the news, and then I went and I had dinner while I was watching it at, like, goodness, at like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, something ridiculous like that. So what I did was I just put in bullet forms. I put all the different announcements that were made. I'm not gonna say them in any order or anything like that, just because like I want to tie this into our Amiibo news. So I want to make sure I'm gonna leave the 3DS Fire Emblem to last. Okay. So first thing that I wanted to mention was the biggest news of all, which is that Fire Emblem for Switch or Fire Emblem Switch or whatever you want to call it was announced, and boy, what an amazing announcement, man. I don't know about you, but I was floored. I was like, I'm gonna...
pre-ordered it.
What? You already pre-ordered it. Great. Super.
Convinced.
So basically they're like this. So Fire Emblem will be coming to the Nintendo Switch in 2018, marking the first time it has appeared on console since the Wii's Fire Emblem. And that was it. Like, they didn't show a title card. They didn't show a screenshot.
They showed the logo, you liar.
No, that was just a general logo of Fire Emblem.
Still, they showed the logo, and that's the logo we have right now for Fire Emblem Switch. Great. So, to me, I just laughed. I saw that and I laughed because it's like, okay, yeah, 2018, okay, if you say so. Like, you don't even have, like, anything to show at all, so whatever. But it's cool that they're making one. The console ones have been really good. They've all been good. It's a really good series. Also for the Switch was Fire Emblem Warriors, which is like Hyrule Warriors, Dynasty Warriors, and all of those, but with the Fire Emblem universe and characters. They showed the same trailer that they showed at the reveal event for the Switch, except that this one was a little bit longer and it had some in-game footage and some more CG stuff and what have you. But that wasn't the news, actually. The news, and this I thought was very interesting, was that the game is going to be available on the new 3DS as well. So what do you think of that? I was really not surprised by that. It sounds like it's going to be the same scenario as Hyrule Warriors, which means that we'll get the Wii U version, in this case the Swiss version, and then we'll get a extremely crappy port on the 3DS, which is what you should expect with this one. It will probably barely run on the 3DS, but it'll be there because people are surprised, but the 3DS, Nintendo is not going to abandon the 3DS right now. And I think that Nintendo, even though they want, it doesn't really believe in the Switch, so they're not about to let go of the 3DS when they have like over 60 million fan base on that one. But yeah, I wasn't surprised at all on this, and it makes sense from a financial standpoint. I'm just don't expect a quality port because Hyrule Warriors Legends is like one of the worst ports I've ever played. So there you go.
Yeah, and you brought up something very interesting about Nintendo's faith in the Switch and stuff like that. I actually believe that we're currently going through, and I can't remember who said this. It might have been Colin. It might have been elsewhere. But someone. This doesn't come from me, but I thought it was a very good point, which was the fact that when the DS was originally announced, which was right around the time with the PlayStation Portable, Nintendo was cautious with the platform. It really was. Because they were saying, no, Game Boy Advance, we're going to have 3 pillars and all this sort of stuff. But the minute the minute the DS really started taking off, they just pretty much like abandoned the Game Boy Advance, and that was the end of it. And it is entirely possible that we're going to be witnessing something similar. And just for the same things you just said, the 3DS is like a tremendous success. It's sold, tons and tons and tons of copies. That doesn't really make much sense to just, pick up and abandon that. Now, if the Switch does take off, like in a really big way, then then you might see a transition, and that's that. However, what's interesting with this current strategy is that it gives them options. Because let's say Switch doesn't do well, then they can very easily come and say like, oh, well, it's fine. Here we go. We have our other platform, and we're still good to go. And I'm like with you, Steven. I'm still not convinced that you will not see another
the thing about
portable.
this is that I don't, like Colin and everybody else says that, but I've been clear from the beginning, even if you go back to the two Nintendo fanboys ago, that I think Nintendo views this as a home console. And
Me too.
Nintendo always had a home console and a portable console since the Game Boy in 89 or 88.
Yeah,
so
89.
It's always been their strategy, home console, portable console.
Yep.
And for like the last 15, 20 years, except for the Wii, their portable consoles have always been the clear winner. And I just don't see why they would abandon that. And like everybody thinks the Switch is the portable since is a portable since it's like you can bring it on the go, but it's not. It's a console that has that extra advantage that Nintendo might or might not take full advantage of. But like I would be surprised if you don't get your successor to the 3DS in holiday 2018. Like really, it's gonna happen. So for me, I don't see this comparison as a third pillar because the Switch is their console, the 3DS is their portable. It's two systems. It's not. I don't know. I think it's surprising. It shows you that like even Colin, like game journalism has pretty much written off Nintendo for a while now because they're not really relevant in the console market. So I don't know. It's surprising to me how people are surprised by that, but.
Yeah, I think a lot of I mean, first off, even on the channel, everybody was writing in saying like you guys are stupid, like they're only going to have one platform, and I think we both really nailed this like when we said that all their press materials they've released, they're not calling it the Switch. It's the Switch home console. That's what they've been saying over and over and over and over and over again. And I think the most obvious clue of Nintendo's intentions is simply the amount of software. Had they amalgamated everything into one console, you would have seen way more games in development, and we just haven't seen that. For me, the thing that I find interesting, and it's why I'm talking about all these different things like this third pillar strategy, is this does give them different options. So, for example, let's say they come out with their next 3DS, right? And Switch just totally bombs. Well, guess what they could do with this next 3DS? They could say, oh, by the way, this is our portable strategy, but it has an HDMI out that you guys can connect to your TV sort of thing if that's something you're interested in. Like, it gives them options. But I'm with you. I really do believe, especially when we saw the reveal, that's what really did it for me, was that I don't believe that they're focusing on one platform. But what's going to be fascinating to see is how they're able to differentiate this, because the public opinion right now is really, like you said, especially for journalists, is that, well, it's mainly a portable that can connect to a TV. But that's not at all what Nintendo's messaging is. Nintendo's messaging is that it's a home console first and foremost that you can just take with you. And now that's the exact opposite of what everyone else is saying. So I think it's going to be very, like I said, I think the next 6 to 12 months are going to be really interesting to see who's right, who's wrong, and exactly where Nintendo's going. But I will say this, next year is their deadline. Because already the 3DS, I mean, it's showing its age, and it's only natural. The machine it's an older piece of hardware now. So I think if we don't hear anything next year, then we'll know for certain what's up. But I will be shocked if we don't hear about a follow-up to the 3DS.
I agree with you, but in the meantime, November was the best-selling month ever for the 3DS, ever.
I know.
So
I know.
People that think it's dead, like, clearly have not been following. Like, I keep coming back to Colin. For me, 3DS is Colin's Achilles heel. Like he hates the thing, and that's his right. But it's just a fantastic console. In 2016, got us some tremendous games. We got just name on top of my head, we got Fire Emblem to start off the year, and we got the Pokemon Virtual Console games, and we got Kirby this summer, was a fantastic game. Then we got Dragon Quest VII, and we ended with Pokemon. Like, that's supposed, if the system's dying, like, I don't know how these games are still coming out, man. Like, we got quality games coming in.
I would never say it's dying. Personally, I would never say it's dying. I bought more games this year than I ever have before for the 3DS, ever. And now, yes, I know my life is changing in terms of I'm playing more and more portables lately, but still, for me, it's just that it is showing its age, which is normal. I mean, that's normal. I said the same thing about the PS2 when it was still getting like God of War, you know?
No, there's no question that the hardware is outdated, of course, and it's still I say how good 2016 was, but it doesn't hold a candle to 2013. So there's some valid points both sides, but 2017 still has some fantastic titles coming for the system. So I don't know. I think we'll have still, like, that's what I'm thinking. 2018 we get our next machine, and that's what I'm hoping for right now.
Well, yeah, me too, actually. Okay, so wrapping this up here, because we've been going on all over the place, as usual. So they did announce another Fire Emblem game, Fire Emblem Heroes, which was kind of unique, because it was originally announced on the Direct as basically going to be like Super Mario Run was for iOS. It was going to be like just launching on Android first, but they then retracted that. So it's going to be available on iOS and Android devices as of February 2nd. And, well, you can go ahead. Talk a little bit about the game.
Yeah, so it's launching next Thursday, I believe. And I'm actually looking forward to that. It looks like a pretty fun mobile game. Like, it's basically Fire Emblem Light. Like, you can see the maps are ridiculously small. There's probably not going to be much story, if any story at all, but it seems like a perfect game for mobile. I never play my mobile phone, never play games on it, but this is something that I will definitely give a chance. It looks like there's a lot of microtransactions, but it looks like you can play the game without using them, so I'll see if that's true or not. But I don't expect I'll play a ton of hours into that, but maybe it'll have some shelf life. Maybe it will last longer than Miitomo and Pokemon Go did on my phone, which both games I really didn't play for more than a week. So we'll see. I really think this has a great potential. Again, it's not a series that's as popular as Pokemon and Mario, so I'm not sure if it will have financial success. But as a Fire Emblem fan, it looks like something I'll have fun with.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, eh? I reinstalled Miitomo because I wanted to see, you know, if they changed anything, like, at all. And it's almost the exact same thing. I was like, wow. Like, it even repeated questions on the first time. I haven't played that since, gosh, like a long time. That was one of the last holdouts.
For a while, though.
Yeah, it was Lisa.
Is
Lisa and myself.
Are they still in there?
Lisa is, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She's the only one. She's the last of the Mohicans there. So, but no, Fire Emblem, I'm with you. That looked very good. I'm going to be curious to see, like, what do they do here? Is it free to play? I think it is, right? It's free to play and then the microtransactions?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. The only thing with microtransactions is, like in this case, it's about essentially gaining up to a 5-star character, and I have a feeling that it's going to be almost impossible for you to do that on your own. Like, in order to get those type of heroes and all that sort of stuff, you're going to have no choice but to go through the microtransaction. It's very, very common for those type of games. I was playing a Masters of the Universe game, this really silly little thing, and it was just like that. You could basically get to a certain point, and you'll have to play every day, 20 hours, forever, in order to actually progress beyond a certain point, or you just go and spend $5 and unlock it like the next stage. The problem is that doing that ends up costing you, thousands of dollars. So I was like, okay, uninstall, for that game. But still, it's going to be cool to see, and since you're going to play this one as well, it'll be fun to, compare our thoughts and see what we both think of it. Okay, and the last announcement, which was actually their first announcement, but it ties into our Amiibo news, is they announced Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valentia, which is actually a remake of Fire Emblem Gaiden, which was originally only released in Japan on the Famicom, and we even got a release date that's coming on May 19th. It's going to be available at retail and digitally, and yet again, I'm going to let Steven talk a little bit about this, because we both think this could be quite interesting.
Yeah, I've never played Fire Emblem Gaiden. I don't know much about it, although I have it. I didn't know it was different than the other Fire Emblems, in the sense that, well, you can tell me maybe the remake is taking liberties, but in the sense that there's some dungeon crawling elements to it, and then the battle takes place on a smaller grid. I don't know how it'll work, but it looked really interesting. I cannot wait to play this, and the story looks fine, so I'm sure I'm going to have a blast with this. I'm not sure what the game is, so maybe you can shine some light.
Yeah, no, it's exactly what you just said. The original Famicom release, I haven't played it in years and years and years, but it followed the same principle that Nintendo had for every single one of their main series, with the exception of Mario. For those that don't know what the hell it is I'm talking about, there was an unwritten rule where every time you made a sequel to a popular game, it was completely different than the original game that you made. And that wasn't just Nintendo that did this. And I said except Mario Brothers or Super Mario Brothers, because in Japan, there is pretty much no difference between Super Mario Brothers 1 and Super Mario Brothers 2. Everyone always forgets that the Super Mario Brothers 2 that we got was not the same game as Super Mario Brothers 2 that they got, which we know as the Lost Levels. But other than that, pretty much the rule was like this. So we'll take The Legend of Zelda. It has its overhead view. You can move in 4 different directions. It has an overworld and then some dungeons. Okay, great. Everyone loved it. Perfect. Let's make part 2. Let's change everything. Now we're going to add side-scrolling elements. We're going to, just change everything, basically. And this was done to Castlevania. This was done to just a wide assortment of NES games back in the day. And Fire Emblem was the exact same thing. So the first Fire Emblem was your traditional strategy RPG or tactical RPG. And when they released this one, it was a completely different game. It plays completely differently than completely different than the original game. So yeah, it's exactly as you described. It's exactly like that. Obviously, it's been way overhauled. It looks absolutely awesome. I can't wait. So yeah, it's essentially you'll go into areas, you'll explore, you'll see an enemy, touch the enemy or whatever, and then you'll get into grid-based combat that the Fire Emblem series is known for. And it looks great, man. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, same here.
And so this ties us into our Amiibo news. And the news is just really very, very minor, very brief. And it's that they did announce that there will be Fire Emblem Echoes Amiibo characters, or Amiibos, released on May 19th, actually. I wasn't sure if that was actually in the direct, but it was in the press release saying that at launch there will be Amiibos released to coincide with the release of Echoes. So that's pretty cool, no?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know what the hell they're going to do, but I haven't bought Amiibos in forever, but I can only imagine for those that have, if any of you guys listening have purchased every single Amiibo, could you do me a huge favor? Could you actually take a picture of your collection? Because I would be very interested to see how massive an area you would need now for all these different Amiibos, because they have released a buttload of these things. And I'm actually I'm actually not buying one, but I've got a pre-order for Yoshi that my friend. I'm buying mine digitally, but I've got one for my friend that it comes with this. Forget what the hell it's called. Poochie, I think. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of funny because I haven't bought an amiibo in forever, and my friend was all like giddy up over this thing. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll go ahead and do that. And when I went into I went down to an EB Games, and they had like just a million, man, amiibos everywhere, as far as the eye could see, amiibos. And I was just like, holy crap. So if anybody owns all of them, take a picture. I would really, really like to see just how much space these damn things take up. All right, so now, dun dun dun, we are right at the end. We have Steven's Blast from the Past, but before that, we have the topic of the show, and it could be a ridiculously long conversation, or it could be over in 10 minutes. And that is, we wanted to talk about The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Something that's been irking both of us for the last little while is the fact that Nintendo is seemingly going out of their way to gimp the Wii U version of the game. And why do you think that is, and what am I talking about, and what are your thoughts?
Okay, so you're asking me the question. I wasn't sure. All right. So if y'all remember when Breath of the Wild was revealed, I don't think it had a name back then, but there was this useful feature on the gamepad where you could see the map, where you could have a waypoint and stuff like that. And it might sound silly to some people, but things like that are extremely useful in a game of this magnitude. And now that feature has disappeared, because apparently Nintendo says that it's too distracting to do that, which, why in the heck did they make the Wii U to begin with if it's too distracting? But the real reason is, there's two possibilities here. And the first one is, maybe the game is too demanding for the system, for them to have to stream that particular element to the gamepad. Maybe that's a possibility, and I'm leaning towards that a lot more these days because I'm hearing that both games run at 30 frames per second and sometimes are a bit less than that. And if that's the case, I wonder why Nintendo did not just say that. Because you have a more powerful hardware coming out, so you can now say that the Wii U cannot handle that. You can say that now. It's not a problem. Like, the Wii U's dead. You don't need to defend it anymore. But the other option is, and that's the one that I think is more realistic, is that Nintendo wants the Wii U version. They don't want people, when the reviews come out on March 3rd or March 2nd or whenever the embargo date is, they don't want people telling the readers that the Wii U version is superior because of that fact. I'm not saying that it will be superior because of that fact, but from a gameplay standpoint, like having a map available at all times on a second screen is huge for me. I've always loved that. That's why I love my two screens on my 3DS for Metroidvania games. I always prefer stuff like that. Like Axiom Verge, perfect example. Much better than the Wii U because of the second screen. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. Look, okay, if it's the taxing nature of it, fine, okay? But I don't buy it. And the reason I don't buy it is because before we had a name, and I'm pretty sure it was before we had a name of Breath of the Wild, you all remember that famous scene, just like what Steven was going on, where, how do you pronounce his name? I always screw him up. It's Miyamoto and Ayum something?
I don't know.
Okay, well, whatever. You know who I'm talking about. Basically, Miyamoto and the guy that's now responsible. I always forget. I don't want to butcher his name. I'm sorry. But the two of them, and they were showing the size of the map, and they were, all this sort of stuff. It means that it was an integral part of the game. And I don't buy it for a minute that, it was too taxing. I think that's Nintendo fanboys basically trying to justify it not being there when the reality is it's what you said. To me, that's what it is. It's because I just don't buy it. If it was a feature that was added, but it was the fact that the very first time we ever see this game, it's one of the things that they're showing us. And now, like, oh, no, that's, no, we can't. And Nintendo's official reason for this was, it's confusing looking at two screens at once. Well, yeah, you're right. I guess that's why, like, the Wind Waker port, that was just awful. And Twilight Princess, terrible. Like, it worked just so bad having the map down there. And I guess the DS and the 3DS, yeah, those are terrible platforms as well. Like, that second screen is just useless. So really, that's what bothered me. It's like, look, guys, there's no way you can... Like, there's nothing you can say, I'm sorry, because you can't even say it's taxing. You could lie about it, and I believe that lie a lot more than I would believe, like you just said, like, the fact that, yes, it's this doesn't work as well, it's confusing for the gamer and all this BS, but, like, it's annoying. It really, really annoys me because, like, let the Wii U have its final, its final swan song. It's going to annoy me. It's really going to annoy me forever. My cat is playing with a bag here. I don't know if you can hear it. I hope not. It's going to annoy me for years and years and years to know that the Wii U ended its life with a Zelda game that could have been more than it was. That's going to annoy the crap out of me, especially considering I'm playing the Wii U version, and to know that the gamepad is essentially useless. I don't know. It's going to annoy me, and when I talk about that particular feature in the review, well, like I say, it's going to annoy me. It's going to be very, very frustrating to be able to talk about the game and be like, well, I had to use the classic controller to play the game because why the hell am I going to use the gamepad? It literally serves no purpose at all. All it's going to do is what? I'm going to have a screen in my hand, and this gargantuan controller for no reason? Like, it makes no sense. Why the hell am I going to play the game like that? It's like, I'll only use the gamepad if I'm going to play off screen. But that sucks. I mean, Twilight Princess and Wind Waker were both excellent. The ports were excellent. Did you ever play Twilight Princess, by the way?
Did not try the port, no.
You should. It's good, man. It's a really good port, and it's frustrating. I mean, this is just really, really frustrating, and it's such a load of BS, only because they want more people to jump onto the Switch. But give me a break. Like, truly, give me a break. No one is going to go buy a Wii U, and I get it. You don't want the reviews to say, like, oh, the Wii U version, at least in terms of gameplay, because of the additional screen, is actually a better game. You can set waypoints, you can do this, you can do that, you can, whatever. And they don't want that. They just want it to be, no, the Switch version is hands down the better one. It runs smoother, looks nicer, and since they both control exactly the same way, why would you buy the Wii U version? Just buy the Switch version. It's like 1,000 times better, and we're good. And that's going to annoy me for years and years and years to come.
Yeah, no, it's just, as a Wii U fan, like, 2016 was really, really, really hard. Like, we had nothing in 2016. We had Pokébank Tournament, which started the year rather well, and then we had the port of Twilight Princess, the third consecutive platform it's on. And Star Fox Zero was, I'll give you that, it was the best game ever. And then what am I missing? Nothing. Like,
no,
that's
nothing.
2016 for Wii U fans. We were supposed to get Zelda.
Oh, wait a second. What about the RPG there? Was that last year?
The Fire Emblem crossover. You're right. That was a decent game, but not really like something, a system seller or anything. You won't buy the system for that. But Zelda was, like you said, the swan song, and Nintendo are sabotaging it on purpose because they don't want the game to look better than the Switch one, which I guess I can understand, but it still feels like a low blow, especially for me, since I don't plan on getting a Switch right now because there's no reason to do that, because the game I want is on the Wii U, so why spend $400 that I don't have when you can wait until Jarrod buys it for your birthday? So
exactly.
No, but speaking of birthdays, I don't want the Switch anymore. I want that damn Pikachu 3DS I sent you, and you were like, no way, come on. You're a millionaire right now, so buy me that.
I'm a millionaire.
That should be my birthday present, you bastard.
I have to look up when your birthday even is.
It's always a month before you. That's how I remember yours. I don't remember your date. I know the month, and mine is a month before you, so.
Oh, really? So, you have lots of time?
Yeah.
You don't want that 3DS. Come on,
Why?
That's lame.
Why? It's amazing.
Because you're such a big loser. I'll buy you something you'll never use. I'll buy you like a special edition Wii U.
Speaking of Wii U's, I have a thought. Like, you usually do that. I don't know if you still do. You always buy a console that you already own before as a spare one in case the second one breaks. The first one breaks, I mean. And the Wii U have not gone down in price, unfortunately, and I think Nintendo has stopped making them. But it would be a smart thing to do, because those gamepads will not, like, they will not work eventually, and you basically need them to play the system. And it's not like you'll be able to, they're not like regular controllers. They were never sold separately. So I wonder when it will be a smart thing to invest into a second Wii U, because my son has already started dropping my gamepad. Like, he does it like 5 times a day. He has a schedule that he needs to pick it up and drop it like at noon and at 2 and at 3. He needs to do that 5 times a day now. So that gamepad's not going to be working in 10 years, when obviously I'll want to play the Wii U for some reason. So I'm wondering if at some point you ever see like those things going on sale for like $99.99. That's just a thought I just had.
Well, okay. So first off, a little bit of backstory for everybody. With the introduction of the what do you call that? The remodeled systems. I started that many moons ago. Like, I own the remodeled NES, and I bought the remodeled NES because I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, I don't know, my NES like might explode one day, and it would be cool to have. Little did I know at that particular point in time when I originally picked it up, all the benefits that would come with that NES. That's actually like the ultimate NES, but it doesn't have. They really gimped the North American version by removing the composite out, so it only has RF, and that really sucks. Okay, like really sucks. But whatever the case may be, the idea was, I was thinking of like the future. So when that really started, though, when it really truly started, was with the Sega CD. With the introduction of CD based consoles, I knew that they were just never going to last because they had moving parts. And I was like, well, what if I wanted to play, you know, like in the future? And so far, almost, not all, but almost every single platform that I purchased, that second one, today, without the second one, I would not be able to go back and do retro reviews for anything. Good case in point would be my original PlayStation. It no longer works. So my PS1, that slim one there, it works. My PlayStation 2 no longer works. It will read PS2 games that are on DVD, but it will not read PS1, nor will it read PS2 games that were on CD. But my slim PS2 works just fine. My PlayStation 3 is one currently. I'm still looking, like, PS3 is like $300, man. Like, you cannot find them for like, I think the cheapest I've seen is about $250, and that sucks. Like, that really sucks. So with I did not do it though for the the Xbox 360 because I got one at E3, so I didn't need to do that. Xbox, the original Xbox, I never bothered. I still have my giant one, and I think that thing, because it was built like a PC, I think that'll last long enough. I'm not too worried about that one. But yeah, you're right. With the Wii U, I have a feeling that if you are thinking of doing that, the wisest thing to do would be, let's see, Switch gets released in March, so probably around June is when everyone will be just like, trying to get rid of whatever they have in the warehouses and stuff like that. But I don't see them ever going below, what are they right now?
Is, I don't think people or stores have a tremendous amount of inventory because Nintendo have stopped making these ages ago, and stores have stopped ordering these ages ago too. So, I don't think most stores have any left. So
that's a good point. Yeah, no, that's a good point, man. What is it on Amazon today?
I don't know. Probably $250, $300 for the Mario Kart 8 one.
Here, let's see. Wii U system. Can you even buy it? Okay, perfect. Great. You can't even buy it. So yeah, they go for about $500.
Perfect.
Yeah, good stuff. Let me go to Best Buy, but I think this is going to be Vita all over again. Vita's another one. I didn't buy the remodeled Vita, and the Vita now is impossible to find in North America. She's gone. It's gone in Canada, not North America. It's getting harder and harder to find in the States, but I wanted one of those too, just in case, But she's gone, and I'm not paying $300 for a Vita. That's crazy.
Well, you can always buy the Japanese ones since they're...
Yeah, that's the good thing with that. Okay, so here we go. At Best Buy, yeah, she's gone, man. It's gone everywhere. The retail price was $330.
So there you go. I guess I'll have to put my gamepad in some kind of protective case or something. Because with the second kid on the way, there's no way that thing will survive.
No, you're doomed. Yeah, wow. I'm just going to go to eBay quick, and then, yeah, that's it. But I think, and I'm telling you, I have a feeling that in the future, this is going to be Dreamcast all over again. I'm almost positive of it. That it's going to be extremely sought after. People are going to be like, oh, I want this, I want that, I want the other thing. Okay, man. So, yeah, it's hundreds and hundreds, man. On eBay right now, Canadian, $330. That's the cheapest one.
Perfect.
Wow. That sucks. Okay, dude, so Blast from the Past time. Impress me.
I will. I'm going to talk about a game that I used to play as a kid with my sister and my aunt a lot on the Super Nintendo, and it's made by Capcom. So I'm going to give you a few clues here. It's not made by Capcom. It's published by Capcom.
Okay, wait. Let me go to Google. It's a Super Nintendo game. Want to impress everyone here?
Okay, so...
Capcom list.
So there's no...
Let's see what we got.
You're cheating, you bastard. All right.
Well, I got to pretend to be smart.
All right, so it's a puzzle game. It's a puzzle shooter game that can be played co-op. And there's two modes that I remember. And I'm doing all this by memory, so I'm probably telling you all bullshit right now. And,
yeah, most likely.
I remember that there was this endless mode, which you would need to shoot big bubbles and stuff like that forever, and it would keep getting harder and harder, and you could change guns depending on how your score would do. They would give you power-ups and stuff. And then there was kind of an adventure mode, which...
What the hell are you talking
had,
about?
different stages and whatnot, and it was all playable with a friend, so co-op, so it was really fun. And that game is Super Buster Brothers. Do you know that game?
I don't even know if I know this.
Yeah, I don't think many people know that game, but it could be a crap game. It could be if you look at Metacritic, it could have really crappy reviews, because I've looked games that as a kid I thought was amazing. One of those games was Bugs Bunny's Birthday Blowout, and it was actually featured on an episode of Angry Video Game Nerd. as a kid, I loved that game. Me and my sister were able to beat that game, and we had fun with that game. But apparently, it's a crappy game. I don't think Super Buster Brothers is the same case because that was an amazing game as a child. So
wow,
I don't know if
I don't even know this, man.
I don't know if it holds up, but we had such a blast playing that. It's basically, like I said, you have a gun and you look up. So I don't know how to describe that as a shooter that would be not side, but it would play like an horizontal shooter, I guess. But you control a guy with a gun and you shoot bubbles, and if the bubbles hit you, you die. And there's different guns with different spread. I remember there's one that's kind of like a hook shot that would go straight up, but if you missed the ball, it would be stuck in the wall, and you wouldn't be able to shoot for a small period of time. So it was really you really needed not to screw up because you would be dead, especially in the later stages. So it might be worthwhile to check this game on YouTube. It's probably on YouTube somewhere because I remember that it was a fantastic game, and that's why I chose this game as my blast from the past.
That's glorious. I honestly I'm on YouTube right now, and I've never seen this before.
It looks fun, right?
Yeah, and Canada's even featured.
Of course.
One of the stages is good old Canuck.
Yeah, and I think there's penguins and stuff during that stage, if I remember right. And
I have no idea. I just saw it in the credits. Wow. All right, cool. Very, very cool. So with that, we are done. Our glorious podcast. Yeah, that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. So remember what you guys got to do. Someone needs to find me a picture of all of the amiibos that have been released as of now, and then you guys got to find Steven a brand new Wii U for $100.
That sounds reasonable.
That's what you got to do. Yeah, I think so. All right, guys, so that's pretty much it. So we'll be back in 2 weeks, and let's see, what would be 2 weeks from now? Let's see. Ooh, I pretty much probably gonna be done with Dragon Quest by that time, so we'll see how our impressions change or don't change or whatever. Alrighty, guys, so say the goodbye chant.
Goodbye, everyone.